Coordinator. All right. Thank you. Gracias. Uh, Welcome to Beyond Baroque. We're a nonprofit literary arts organization. It's an organization that has been around for 55 years now. And it was founded in 1968 by George Story Smith, a project that began as an experimental literary magazine and evolved into the interdisciplinary art space we know today. Since the late 70s, the organization has taken residence here in the original Venice City Hall. We're a place dedicated to the possibilities of language, providing a platform for readings, writing workshops, gallery exhibitions year-round. I'd like to acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to indigenous communities through colonialism and genocidal practices. As an arts organization, we're committed to uplifting indigenous communities and their art, and we recognize they're still with us. You can catch programming like the one today here nearly every weekend. We're hosting literary programming Fridays and Saturdays for the most part. And for the month of May, we have some exciting programs, including a Beat Poet marathon on May 20 from the new anthology Beat Not Beat, published by Moontide Press. Will feature a multitude of beat poets, both contemporary and those who have built a legacy over the years. And on May 27, we'll be hosting a roundtable discussion with 4 poets of Southern California exploring grief through their works. And this will be part of our programming sponsored by the Academy of American Poets. We'll also be hosting poet Diana Coy Wynn for an intensive workshop. So if you'd like to sign up for any of these events, workshops, please check out our website at beyondbaroque.org. And every week, there's something cool going on in the space. Tonight is no exception. We have 2 of the most prolific poetas in the space. Y pues, creo que están bien acompañados. I'm talking, of course, about Rubén Funkahuatl, Guevara, and Matt Sedillo, who are celebrating the release of their new album, El Grito de los Dos de los. And yeah, let's give it a round of applause. I say they're well accompanied because we have Linda Ravenswood Montaño opening with a few poems and maybe a bit of conversation with Matt and Rubén. And our surprise guest tonight, we're blessed to have the Venice legends John Densmore and Harlan Steinberger. And so it's going to be a wonderful night. Really excited to have this collective of talent here in the space. And it's an honor to be standing here in the presence of so much inspiration, really, over the years. So they have prepared something exciting for us tonight. So please support the artists, support the space. We have copies of the vinyl in the bookstore, and you can check them out after the show. And I'm sure our poets will be more than happy to sign a copy. And if you want to know more about Rubén, about Matt, watch Consafo's documentary. You should be reading Mowing Leaves of Grass and Cantadora, while you give a spin to your favorite Doors record. So support the artist, the space. And lastly, before I get off the mic, huge thank you to our directors, Quentin Ring, Jimmy Vega, our staff, Catherine Genesis and Eric Alberg in the sound booth with Dan McNay, and to the event organizer and Venice Art Council leader, Suzanne Thompson, for making all this happen. So I'd like to welcome her to the stage and get on with it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. And I'm here to tell you to buy the record tonight, okay? All right? It's only $40, and I know, but you get a digital download with it. And also, if you have a little more money than some other people in the room, feel free to buy one for a friend and give it to them because it's a collector's item. There's only like 300 of them that's been printed. And thanks to Alice Steck, Dr. Alice Steck, we were able to make this happen. So And I just wanted to acknowledge the Venice Arts Council members here tonight that are supporting the reception. We have Gloria Vando here at front, who's also on the board, and Emily Winters, who we co-founded the Venice Arts Council together, and Eric Alberg's in the sound booth. So enjoy your evening. Thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. And one last thing, you know, I'm always pumping the poetry walls on Venice Beach. We finally got our first deposit in, and we're going to start doing that. We have 180 tiles to put in on the Horizon and Brooks bathroom. And our beloved Wanda Coleman is on the Horizon bathroom. So we'll be doing some special things with Beyond Baroque. So look forward to what we're going to tell you about that.
No, it's me. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you, Beyond Baroque. Thank you, Quentin, tireless leader. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you to the Venice Arts Council. Thank you so much, Dr. Alice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Linda. Oh, hi. Hi. Thank you so much to Eric in the sound booth. I'm Linda Cristina Ravenswood de Montaño. I'm an LA native. I'm half and half. And it's my great pleasure tonight to warm you up and give you two of my poems. Matt said to me, hit him with two. So I'm going to give you two poems, and I hope you like them. They're from my upcoming collection called A Poem is a House, coming out of a Texas press in October. Very, very exciting business. And I have a few of my recent books in the bookstore. Give a look if you wish. So this is the first one. This was selected by the Poet Laureate of the United States, Juan Felipe Herrera, for a little prize from San Jose State University, from Read Magazine, the oldest literary magazine in California. And it won 1,000 clams. Can you stand it? And I was just there 2 weeks ago to read it at a very special reading. I was there with my friend, co-writer, Christina Cha, who's here tonight. Hi, Christina. And it's called The Children Turn Themselves into Ice. And ice, of course, we know ice is many things, especially for the people at the border. Ice is a very deadly, scary thing. It's la migra, right? It's the police. So this is The Children Turn Themselves into Ice. Are you ice? I'm a flag. I can be quiet. You know, I could imagine and pretend you never existed, and the walk across the desert is a dream. I could imagine your rig is an ice cream truck, and this border jag the way to a school, maybe a fence between two grand properties. My father, a king of the mountain and the land to the west, my uncle of the domain beyond. There are orchards and olive trees and peaches there, fish ponds of my mother in a diaphanous dress. I can imagine a movie, my pockets full of corn. Pequeña Johanna, semilla de manzana, turn yourself into ice. You know, I heard a little girl on the opposite side of the Rio Grande successfully turned herself into ice and floated downstream. She was that kind of glacial child who tripped a little, left a little, and flowed. When finally she came to the sluice gate in La Paz, it was just enough to scoop out of the water. There was just enough story left. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this one is a new poem. I debuted it at LACMA. It's called Names of Malinche, Names of Her Children, No Such Thing as Half-Breed, Only New Celestinas, and a happy Cinco de Mayo to you all, okay? Rubén's gonna tell you all about that in a minute, okay? So, names of Malinche. They call her complicated, Ixpotli, Sihuac, Co'olelo, Chupal, tongue, la lengua, interpreter, wife, concubine, spy, peacemaker, pacifier, map maker, collaborator, translator, messenger, captive girl, woman, nahua, slave, indigenous chattel, Grijalba, Chicalanga, Yucateca princesa. Sing it. Grijalba, Chicalanga, Yucateca princesa. Grijalba, Chicalanga, Yucateca princesa. Our mother. See her son, Martin, clutching her like a peat-colored horseshoe, a lapdog, prickly pear, un hijo de pitaya roja. See his claws and wooden limbs. See what burden is this new star, crumbling and cracking everything around him, everyone running. Is it a flood? Is it locusts? No one stopping to see his dew, his eyes. Everyone afraid of the ingression, the power of this nascent explosion. A new city on a hill sends mudslides below, land bursts to new civilizations, covering a beautiful plaza. See Martin in his mother's clutch, how they interpret his face like an alien, not new beauty on the mountain. See his father, Cortez, how he paces back and forth in the hallway. Is it my son? No, I don't know if it's my son. Maybe it's not my son. Maybe it's the son of the water of the maybe it's a girl. There's a boat in the harbor. I can get home if I hurry. I never knew them anyway. Was it a son or a cacahuate? I'm allergic to these flores nativos. Anyway, get me out of here. What is a son anyway? Is it indigenous? Is it Spanglish? Don't say pocha. They forget us in the West. Beyond the border, Mexica, mestiza, hijas de latinidad aquí. There is no half-earth madre tierra, hija de Nepantla. Don't turn us away, sus hijas inmaculatas. There is no such thing as a half-breed human. Look, I'm a new star on your tongue. Gracias. Thank you so much. And it's my great pleasure to introduce the members of Grito, Los Dos de Los, the great Rubén Funkahuatl Guevara, a rock and roll survivor, a seminal influence to all poets, especially us poets in the West, us California natives, us Angelinos especially. You know him as a decade upon decade upon decade troubadour in the West, Emmy nominated. Please see his movie Consafos. His son, also Rubén, Trece, the third, is the executive producer of it, Consafos. You can find it anywhere online. And of course, Matt Sedillo with him, the other Grito. Matt Sedillo, what can I say about him? The most celebrated, best political poet in the United States, internationally acclaimed, awarded, a laureate from Italy. You can't even find him because he's always overseas. It's ridiculous. We're so lucky he's here tonight. He's also the literary director of the Mexican Cultural Institute of LA. What else do you want? Please, will you welcome Rubén Funkahuatl Guevara y Matt Sedillo.
Sundown, Levittown, Fort Apache, Dirty Harry, John Wayne, Blackface, Minuteman, Moynihan, Gone with the Wind, Breaking Bad. Washington Redskin, Confederate flag, the sword, the dollar, the cannon, the scholar, the cavalry, and the Ivy League history as written by lightning is the rising smoke of burning village. The ways and means victors keep their victims. In fronted thieves some notes on the state of Virginia extraction, expansion, the winning of the West, Lewis and Clark, Smith and Wesson, that circle the wagon with bloodshed and slave sweat, the crack of the whip, the law 3/5, the Crown Republic, King Cotton, intended failures of Reconstruction, the housing covenants that created great migration, the same to the Mexicans and poor Mexico. So far from evidence, so close to Monroe Doctrine, to Davy Crockett, to prison industrial complex. A war on drugs is a war on our young. Bloody Christmas, Reefer Madness, 15 to life for 4 ounces, East Oakland, West Baltimore, south of La Brea and Auburn North, Plymouth Rock, Jamestown, Rio Grande. Stolen lives, stolen land. Once upon a dream, at least so I heard, from a time long before in a land now distant we gathered. Took shelter from the winter. Our child eyes warmed the stars, collected moonbeams from the tops of trees in our veins, rivers and streams in our heart was a beat. In each generation, once the next, we built stronger nests, and legends were left fuller than foundly, so I heard by the time before I was born on a stretch of land known for its weather, where the sun shone its light upon the righteous and the wicked, the wretched and the innocent, the truly guilty alike, as their gilded steps fell upon our heads, for those who own the land, own the law, and those who do not, only its consequence. I had this dream once. A man walked a child to the edge of a hill upon which sat a mansion. He pointed up and said, "Son, they live the rich. Though you and I may never live to see it, one day this hill will run red with their blood." Sometimes I have all the strength. Sometimes I have none at all. That's recurring life. Every moment is midnight. Every step is fog. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up to a downtown bus ride alongside a friend of mine. Tell me your troubles. I'll tell you mine. Or we just shoot the shit, pass the time. Some about a job, some about a car, some running with the cops, some fucked up by the law. Everyone stood around and watched, but I talk my way out like I always do. Tells me school children are chanting in your children's face, Trump, Trump, and build the wall. We were children during Prop 187. This is worse. I imagine. I pause. I restart. This is worse. I know it ebbs and it flows. Always really coming and it never really goes. Our kids, never just kids in this construct history. Mendez and Lemon Grove, Rodriguez and San Antonio, Sal Castro, and the blowouts. McGraw, Hill, and Texas, Tucson, unified against us. How La Lucha makes us strong, but La Luna makes us who we are. She tells me she doesn't like to ride the bus alone. At least not at night. Tells me of dangers I never have to consider. Tells me the world is full of threats because the world is full of men. No exceptions. I sit. I listen. The wheels keep turning. We reach our destination. Walk our separate ways. I find no peace these days. I head east, towards clinics of cruelty. All humanity stripped from a system, sadism posed as social work, and Amani, the writing on the wall will insult you in two languages. In the corner, a Paramount and Whittier on the border, a Montebello and Pico Rivera signs ring out to criminalize our movement. 6 months to a cage for cruising. My father always said they hate to see us shining. The car was once his. Its days are few. My feet are weary. I sleep in parking lots. Sleepwalk my way to the west side, some kind of festival lights at the beginning or the end of the Christopher Columbus Highway. I've made my way waist deep in the Pacific. I welcome the waves, make distant the land, make distant the chant. I've come this far to forget, feel the moonlight, ripple my skin, awake again. I see them on the pier, the boys in blue, the killing crew. America signed with a bullet, 5 pigs to 1 teenager hands, cuffed behind his back, loud, proud, frat boys walk by, drinking out of flasks. Black youth is criminalized, white crime, state sanctioned, their guns, their triggers, their laughter, no crowd gathers. So we come to imagine this is nothing to see, and all their never once in all their murderous authority do they ever stop laughing. They simply tell him to stay out of trouble. This is the law of the land. I had this dream every so often of people gathered in the distance, beyond borders and prisons, telling tales of a time when women feared the evening, communities were punished by color, and grown men hunted children, hardly able to believe there was a time people once lived that way. It's so great to be here at Beyond Baroque. This is phenomenal. Yeah, I'm Matt Sedillo. It's just really great to be here. This is like I think first time I was here, it was like headlining, whatever. It was with we did this thing called Sedillo and Fearing with a bass player from San Diego. It was really a phenomenal experience. And then I did something here with Greg Palast a while back, LA Times bomb, which is the reason why I'll never be in the LA Times, or because we said that back in the day, the LA Times owned the LAPD. Today, the LAPD owns the LA Times, right? And so I've now repeated this, so definitely, probably not. But I don't care. I'm People's Laureate. And so This next poem is also another reason why I'll never be the LA Poet Laureate. This next poem I'm about to do right here. It's dedicated to Los Angeles' finest. Actually, this poem came out of a right when I started really doing shows. I mean, before I was able to really kind of jump 2 feet into this, I, like most people, worked a job, and I was a manager at a Big Five. I was a manager at a Marshalls. I was a manager at a Steinmart, which is the worst of all of them, because Steinmart is essentially they want to have like Nordstrom's like look, but like Marshall's prices. So essentially, Steinmarts are like sweatshops. They make it really hard, and they don't pay you much. And so I remember I was one of my towards the end of there. It was the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, so all this, it's all screaming and yelling. And I remember feeling like, oh man, feeling the dignity in my legs well up to my stomach, reach my hands and pull off my name badge. And I said, I'm a human being, goddammit, I don't take this, I quit. The manager pinned it back on me. I was there for another 6 months. I had pride and dignity. Nah, man, I had rent, I had a car payment, I had a little fridge I like to keep stocked. But anyways, I started booking shows, started getting paid to do colleges, and then I was like, that was really exciting. And I was like, oh man, like my career at Steinmart's getting away with my poetry career. And so then I started, doing more stuff in different places. And then I started getting really sick though, and I didn't know what it was. Turned out I had chronic bronchitis, but I didn't know what it was at the time. And so I got really sick, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my health. I didn't know poets didn't have health insurance. And so I'm going to lose my health. I'm going to lose my apartment. And then I'm going to be on the streets, and I'm going to lose my life to the cops. And so that whole chain of thinking is what produced this next poem. And it's dedicated to Los Angeles' finest. The name of this poem is LA is Full of Pigs. Los Angeles falling apart. In the streets. In the suburbs. In the wind. In a barely kept Hollywood bathroom, wheezing, vomiting, coughing up blood. These past few days, these past few years, I have spread myself across this sprawl. And now fear this drive may kill me. May kill us all. And I wander. Over to General Hospital, between whose walls desperation wears in high concentration. Upon the faces of the shopworn and prematurely ill alike. As they wait upon the news of illness they cannot afford to have, survival without insurance, this may take a while. Los Angeles is full of untold misery. A homeless man sleeps next to me, and I could smell the years of hard distance between who he is now and who he may have been. And all that stands between him and the bitter wind is chance. Is the kindness of a night nurse to let him sleep in peace. Los Angeles is full of good people who from time to time can turn a blind eye to killer policy. And I wonder how balanced clinics, free clinics, carry cash and leave the count the negative stamp between me and him. Me and the bitter wind, and if so, where would I go? From Venice to San Francisco? Is not a war on the homeless, a war on the dispossessed. I got fewer and fewer options. I got shelters for women and children, all inadequate for me. Just man up, homeboy. It's that concrete pillow, it's that cardboard blanket, and freeze your ass to death. It's a city will leave you to die on the same stretch of sidewalk where banks stretch into the sky. And I wonder, as even now Skid Row is being gentrified, as this city, as this system, as the pigs push people past poverty, past hunger, past homelessness, to the very edge of existence on Skid Row, where also the complexities of an economy are laid bare, where the rich are literally stacked upon the poor. Los Angeles is full of grotesque absurdity, especially on Skid Row, as the millions annually policing the misery of people with nowhere to go. So their pockets are empty, they ain't got nothing, and change is not coming. What's the real difference between a metropolis and a barren desert? The world of money passes by you, passes through you, as though you were just part of the scenery protected and the knowledge they are serviced by pigs who speak the language of violence, the language of the nightstick, the language of untold misery that will beat you for begging, beat you for sleeping, beat you for breathing, beat you for doing whatever it is you do to survive the night in the bitter wind. Los Angeles. I said Los Angeles is full of pigs. All right. So this next poem is a character poem, meaning I am not this person, meaning don't protest me. I'm not pretending to be a bigot, so it's nothing like that. Not being racist, sexist, homophobic, any of that. None of it. I'm pretending to be a billionaire, which I am not. I've had people protest me while doing this. They're like, we'll rise up against you. It's like, yes. I am a billionaire, and I've come to this open mic in Ontario in front of 6 of you to brag in all your faces. This is lifestyles. My billionaire lifestyle. All right, that is what I would do if I were a billionaire. I would walk around everywhere like this. All right, here we go. The rich! Well, they're not like you and me. They see an opportunity, they grab it. Reach for the stars and they put them in their pocket. Company stays in the red, but they're backed by the government. Store the public dime to lines of pure profit. Research and development, the rich, wow, they different breed. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams, thoroughbred stallions, quarterback match on the sea, Deepwater Horizon, blood diamonds, golden parachute, silicon messiahs, feasting on endangered species served on silver platters, winter palaces, carved from the tips of icebergs, six-figure charters, vulture capital, $1,000,000 cufflinks plucking life like an apple, insured by suicide nets, lifestyles of the criminally negligent, but you haven't lived till you've launched a car into space for no fucking reason. Now that's what I call freedom. The rich, well, here's how it is. Dollars and cents. Trademark and rent. Facts and figures, lines on a ledger, derivatives and debt, building the future, increasing productivity, union busting back to the 100-hour work week, treating the fat bricks monopolies with real money, shorts, and bets. Now, my friend, it's how the rich stay rich while the rest make poor decisions. And it's pure ecstasy, living in the lap of luxury, pushing pharmaceuticals to mark up the market will bear your body to its altar at a life or death bargain. The gospel of wealth, because it is what it is, and that's all it's ever been. The less we spend, the more we keep. You see, the rich and the poor, well, they're just like you and me. 2 hands, 2 feet. The sky, the sea, and one heart that beats, and the time to make the most of it, so find no sympathy. Reach into these deep pockets. All we ever asked was for our fair share, and God damn it, that's all of it. So we out in the streets, scream for peace and justice. We sleep in satin sheets, dream free and guiltless over oceans and tariffs, liquidating pensions, then off to bid on porcelain and portraits at $1 billion auctions. You know you need us. You know we're selling your secrets. You know still send us DNA kits, watching the puppets on television, debate freedom, free speech, fascism, democracy. We're reaching the earth and punch the ozone and fuel the economy with space stations. Yes, space stations, hydrating the red planet. We're gonna survive this lava pit. So you got pots and pans, we got deeds and plans. Chopping down rainforest, colonizing the moon. We're the rich. Who the fuck are you? We'll privatize the water supply and then copyright the tears falling from your eyes. Burn it all down. What the hell are you talking about? The ice caps already melting. You want to start some shit? Eat the rich. We're already killing your kids. 1 carbon footprint, 1 gas house emission, 1 oil rig, 1 naval ship, 1 free trade agreement at a time. We'll get away with it too. Nothing we say or do is ever held against us. Haven't you been paying attention? We're rich. Who here has heard of El Sereno? All right. So for those who've not, East LA. Okay, here we go. Northeast LA. So this next poem is about El Sereno. It's where I grew up, where I was born. But you know, this is a real honor to be here today, reading with Rubén and having everyone here. And I know we're joined by the legendary John Densmore. So this is really a huge honor, and I'm really very grateful to everyone here. It's been a long journey. It's been a long journey for me, doing all kinds of different things, and now I'm to the point where, you know, I'm going to Italy in like 2 weeks. I'm going to Italy in like less than a week. Not 2 weeks, less than a week. Ran up on me. And, you know, at this point, I think I've performed at some like 127 different universities across the world. And it's really interesting. You know, you get interviewed. They ask you interesting questions like, how'd you get started? Who are your influences? Could you give us an example of a Latino experience? To which I typically respond, when I was 6, I lost a tooth and put it under the pillow. In the morning, ¿Sabes qué? It was gone. Fuck you. That's my Latino experience. That said, here's a poem about El Sereno, and make sure you buy Grito de los Dos. Here we go. I was born on the east side of Los Angeles, across the tracks from Bandit Steel, industrial petrified forest. Across the steps, a giant green tarp protected customers and gossipers, our abuelitas, from raising sun to bombs of birds. I spoke Spanish, sold mangoes, papayas, and cherries, my favorite. As a child, I could never quite make the connection between the broken, empty bottles across the steps and the broken, empty men poured out the rust factories from across the tracks. So my cousins and I would gather and throw rocks of dirt aimed directly for the head. And the men would yell back something like, "What do you damn kids know about life?" And we yell back, "Take that, drunks!" That was messed up. That's how it was. Growing up, where Valley climbs up and over Soto, El Sereno. In the 1950s, my mother's father, a technician by trade, by birth, a prince among men, in a backward scheme that held him back, that treated him different for the radiance of his unapologetic brown skin, raised a family of 6 on a single income. There is hard-fought genius in me, older than my mother's womb. December 18th, 1981. After months of fear and absence, my father makes his return. My aunt moves to a hospital bed. She does not want to see you. You know what you did. It'd be best for everyone if you were just to leave. My mother holds a newborn, her only begotten son. There is a pain in me, older than my father's blood. As a child, I can never make the connection. And his fingers are on my throat, and the anguish in his chest, a suffering older than my father's bones. His father's whiskey, grandfather's short temper, long-lived legacy to time. History does not care to remember because beatings are not fit for scrapbooks, and genealogy shame rarely make their way to the oral tradition of campfire. There is a burning in my heart that time cannot trace. Without my father's, the suburbs treat me different. One day in the workforce, I told my boss, last night I met a woman. Beautiful and intelligent. Asked, where at? Boyle Heights. Where's that? The east side of Los Angeles. Asks, incredulous. You met an intelligent woman in East Los Angeles? I want to slap the cavalry from a smirk. Beat the manifest destiny out of his name badge, but needing a paycheck, I stood in the weakness of silence, the pain and anguish of generations long past, alive and sickened in my chest. There is a shame attempted upon us, older than the tongues of bigots. Walked off job, marched off, loud fist up for the cause in a world that has told us no, that has told us different. I've chosen yes. Yes, I'm Chicano. Yes, Mexicano. Yes, indigenous, I brown skin and bleed red. Yes, unafraid and unashamed, my passion, my potential, my intelligence. Yes, the fire in my chest. Look into my eyes, you can feel its strength. And yes, as a matter of fact, some of the most radiant, gifted, talented, beautiful, intelligent women I have ever met reside on the east side of Los Angeles, just across the steps from the streets where I was born. Yes, I am all of this and more. I, like you, I'm made of stars. You, like me, so filled with pain, are brimming with genius. Listen to no one would make you feel different. And it is now my great honor to read a duet poem with the legendary, the living legend, the Chicano culture sculptor himself, the great Rubén Funkahuatl Guevara. Please come.
Hey man, lighten up.
Here we go.
What's up, everybody? We're gonna do a little duet here from the album called Requiem for J.P. Moby. It was a name that I was christened with on a show called Shindig, where you're a product, not a person. It's a little bit of thing that we came up with.
Here we go. Lies, camera, action, fresh off the assembly. JP is born, ready for the scene. His monkey can do the dog. Wipe your tears, Ruben. You're a product, not a person. He's got rock and roll dreams.
Say what? Tina Turner and Bo Diddley? Hell yeah, I'll do the show. Say what? Change my name to J.P. Moby? Shit, what the hell? I'm gonna be on with Tina and Bo.
Over half a century, but the mystery remains. Who shot JP? Was it Cheech? Was it the rolling hills up in smoke? Was it that sweet Cali green? Was it Chicano studies, the 60s, the pyramids, the ancestors, rock theater, a snap of the fingers? Was it you? Was it me? Was it something in the soul of el pueblo, un grito con sapos, the will of the people, or the song of Los Angeles?
It was JP's Tecuexe ancestry that shot him down. Laid to rest on top of City Hall's pyramid crown, Funkahuatl is born. A Chicano culture sculptor, a funk monk and rock and roll scribe, singing and dancing through fire, living and dying in truth. Yeah. So I want to set you straight on the Cinco de Mayo stuff, okay? It's not Mexican Independence Day. That's September 16. Cinco de Mayo is celebrated more here than in Mexico, except in the town of Puebla de Los Angeles, where a battle was won by an outnumbered Mexican army, May 5th, 1862. They beat the well-equipped French invaders. So that battle victory is about that. It's about bravery. It's about protecting your land. It's about being victorious and living victoriously. In the 1960s at UCLA, when the Chicano movement was starting, the students there decided to take that celebration, that date, and turn it into a celebration. Well, Cinco de Mayo started at UCLA with the Chicano student movement, 1960s. And of course, later it got co-opted by beer companies and Modelo, Corona, and American beer companies. Now you have this crazy celebration. It's okay to party, but know what you're celebrating. All right? I was sitting by a bus stop waiting for the bus a couple years ago. Anyway, here it goes. My hands. Looked at my hands today while waiting for the bus. They looked like my tata's hands when I was a kid. Fine copper crepe paper, wrinkled tears, deep crevice odysseys, each line a miracle dream, each scar a silent scream. Hands that touched my mother's face at birth, hands that held hers crossing the street, hands that held my children tight, spoon-fed them, soothed their sorrow, chased their nightmares at night. Hands that caressed my woman's face, stroked her hair and body. Hands that wrote her bad love songs and bad poetry. And hands that signed too many marriage certificates. Hands raised high in protest, sure to change the world, carrying signs and banners proclaiming salvation, blasting injustice, greed, malfeasance, a lethal virus of privileged, ignorant hate. Hands that picked me up when I fell, hands that held fire and rain, hands finally crossed on my chest, hands that will sing and dance as dust. Yeah. A poem within a poem. Where is the poem? Is it in the silent sound of the full moon rising? In the sudden flutter of frightened wings? In the musical mist of rain clouds? In the virgin wind whispering surrender? Or is it in the heart of a broken heart? In the desperate moans between the sheets? In the lying cries of betrayal? In the dreams of broken souls? Or is it in the last breath of George Floyd? In the sickening sorrow stuck in a tear? In the blood on the streets on fire? In the rabid sneer of a racist COVID nation? Or is it in the shattered heart of forgiveness? In the tenacious, fierce courage of hope? In the healing grace of salvation? In the radical redemption of reciprocal love? Or is it in the blinding radiance of the sun's truth? In the dust of stars, in the eyes of storms? In the mysterious wail of a gut-wrenching soul song sung by Creator? Where is the poem? Where is the poem? There is the poem. Thank you. I'm going to read this last piece here. This is from the autobiography that I wrote a couple years ago. It's on University of California Press. Pick it up. They have a copy in there. Good to see. It's called Confessions of a Radical Chicano Doo-Wop Singer. Thank you. So this is the last chapter of that book. Kind of a narrative poem. Called Take Me Higher, Mi Reina. When I lived on Catalina Street in the mid-50s, it was just one block from John Fonte's apartment on Berendo, where he wrote the classic LA novel, Ask the Dust, based on the time he lived on Bunker Hill in downtown LA in the mid-30s. Fonte's Los Angeles was looked on by a heartless son that baked his sense of humor, serving up promises wrapped in dust dreams. My LA son kissed me at birth, promising me miracles wrapped in fire, music, and love. I know Fonte's LA streets. I still walk them. I know the new Follies on 5th and Main, where I saw my first burlesque show at 15 years of age. Ah, Tempest Storm. The May Company department store on 8th and Broadway, with its elaborate Christmas display, a toy electric train chugging around the first floor, a fake Santa with kids on his knee. I know the Grand Central Market on 3rd and Broadway, where I'd shop with my mother for the day's produce for the Mexican restaurant we once owned. I know the $1 Million Theater next door where my parents met and fell in love. In fact, my father was playing a concert there, 1941, with a trio from Mexico called Trio Los Porteños. And my mother went to see him in concert there. She worked herself backstage after the show. I was born a year later. The Paramount Ballroom, the Paramount Theater on 6th and Broadway, where I saw Johnny Otis tear it up with the Hollywood Flames and the 3 tons of joy. I know Olvera Street, where I tasted my first taquitos at Cielito Lindo with my father after the war. The placita across the street, the placita church across the street, where Fante's alter ego, Arturo Bandini, prayed for salvation, and where my son, Rubencito, was baptized. I know Westlake Park, where I paddled across the lake one night, sensing penny wishes and drowning tears. I know Union Station, that grand cathedral of trapped ghosts and ripped hearts and laughter, where the Pinche Manifest Destiny Railroad connected east and west over the busted backs of human beasts of burden. I know 8th and Alameda, where Tongva men and women and children and other indigenous people were corralled like cattle, left to howl and pray to the moon in honor and in shame. I know Chinatown, where a serene Buddha sits by a clear pond meditating on the reflection of crushed spirits in opium dens and dangling from trees. I know 5th and Broadway, where I saw an exquisite beauty drop a couple bucks into a tin cup held up by a man-beast with half a face. I know Skid Row, where the Great Depression never left, where I once saw a sign scrawled on a wall saying, "Why is God hiding?" I know Hollywood, which surgically cuts and carves out live innocent hearts and feeds them to gluttonous executive cannibals. I know the San Fernando Valley, its rich orchards turned into a spiritual wasteland by toxic film studios. I know South Central LA, where the smoldering embers from the Watts riot still threaten to ignite as brown and black people continue to experience police brutality. I know the warehouses in Southeast LA, where I unloaded boxcars and almost lost my face to sulfuric acid, where the stench of the slaughterhouses grip and rip your gut. East of the LA River, with its concrete banks cemented with Angelino apartheid, lies mi querido Boyle Heights, where murals sing corrido, doo-wop, hip-hop epiphanies, where street vendors sell tacos of tongues, ears, brains, and intestines, wrapped in corn tortillas with frijoles, arroz, and chiles. Sustenance from over a millennia, supporting a better dream for a better death. The Evergreen Cemetery crematorium is a couple blocks from my Boyle Heights bungalow. The dust in my place isn't brown or gray, it's black. Each speck a lifetime, each speck a minute, each speck a pregnant dream, each speck a love promised por vida. And to the west, my beloved Santa Monica, my barrio La Veinte is gone, but the pier still stands, the carousel still turns, the ocean still licks the shore with love, still caresses the memory of Bandini's sweetheart, Camila Lopez, frolicking free as a shimmering bronze dolphin through the moonlit midnight waves, where seagulls still squawk cries of hunger, where LA cools down on a scorched homicidal summer night, while the San Andreas fault sleeps, conjuring an apocalypse. Fante's doomed heroine, Camila Lopez, was the indigenous soul of LA. I don't think he knew that. She was the desert, the sun, the sea, the mountains, the nopales, the wildflowers, the wildfires, a beauty Bandini could never understand or have, but only desire. He, like so many immigrants from the Midwest and East, came to a place that promised fast women and sunshine wrapped in skin-tight gold lame. He didn't expect the dust, the dirt, the shit, the piss, the vomit, the stepped-on, shattered dreams on shiny, slick, quicksand sidewalks. And with all due respect, Mr. Fonte, It wasn't marijuana that killed Camilla. It was the color of her skin. A constant reminder that she was Mexican in a town and country that despised her. This was her ancestral land, yet her soul was dishonored, serving cheap beer with forced smiles to insatiable, transient losers. It was the oppression of dreams and hope that killed her, like it almost killed me. Yeah, I know you, LA, and I know you know me. You saw the birth and death of my dreams, and the tears, doubts, and guilt that almost killed me too. So the next time I crash and burn, take me in your arms and wrap me in satin wings of fallen angels, broken promises, unanswered prayers, songs never heard, and the tortured hearts of poets, priests, pimps, and prostitutes. Let's jump on Angel's Flight and soar high above City Hall's pyramid crown, where you breathe with the moon, seducing the sunset, where hawks and spirits fly through lightning, where gods and goddesses make love, where angels dance the Pachuco hop with demons and dogs, where broken hearts search for the soul of your music. Then hold me tight, LA. Tighter. Now take me higher. Take me where the Big Bang banged, where stars sing falsetto light, where stardust turns into DNA, where the galaxies dance slow and tight, where love seduces miracles. Then grab a piece of the sun's bleeding heart and sculpt me into a lusty funk of fire, rhythm, and blues. And let my perfect tears and songs of dust caress and cover our sinful sacred streets. Then watch me burn, mi reina de los ángeles. And as you stoke the fires of hope and despair, I'll kiss the flames of acceptance, redemption, salvation, as I recreate myself in the fiery crucible of your soul, to rise again and again and again. Watch me burn, mi reina. Watch me burn. Stoke the fire. Kiss the flames. Con Safos. Thank you. It's my great honor. I know that's an overused word, but icon overused, legendary overused. Well, these are from one of the greatest bands of LA, The Doors. Co-founder and drummer, Mr. John Densmore.
Well, I just got into town about an hour ago. Look around, see which way the wind blows. Are you a lucky little lady in the city of light, or just another lost hand? Yeah, Linda, I too am a native, and my mom was born in LA in 1906, but we are not the first peoples. Tonga, Chumash. Wow, what an honor to be here, man. I mean, I've known Rubén for a long time. I know how prolific he is, but these two, woo, smoking. This is my friend, master percussionist Harlan. He's helping. I'm gonna do this poem or song or whatever. Yeah, song by David Byrne, Talking Heads dude, and it'll confirm I'm not a singer. I'm but kind of is the voice of indigenous scene. So, and then we're gonna back up Rubén on the finale con Safos. Mojik sees his village from a nearby hill. Mojik thinks of the days before the Americans came. Oh, I should start over, I guess. Mojik sees his village from a nearby hill. Mojik thinks of the days before the Americans came. He sees the foreigners in growing numbers. He sees the foreigners in fancy houses. He thinks of the days that he can still remember now. Yeah. Mojik. What's he do? He smells the wind that comes from far away. Mojik waits for news in a quiet place. He feels the presence of the wind around him. He feels the power of the past behind him. He has the knowledge of the wind to guide him. Oh. The wind in my heart. The wind in my heart. The dust in my head. The dust in my head. Sees the village from a nearby hill. Mojik thinks of the days before the Americans came. He sees the foreigners in growing numbers. He sees the foreigners in fancy houses. He thinks of the days that he can still remember. Mojik smells the wind from far away. He waits for news in a quiet place. Feels the presence of the wind around him, feels the power of the past behind him, has the knowledge of the wind to guide him. Oh. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, dust in my head, the dust in my head, wind in my heart, wind in my heart, dust in my head. Maestro.
John and I have done this before, and we're going to try it with a conga. I don't think we need a mic on the drums, so I think they're pretty good by themselves. So this is a song poem that I wrote in '75. I went to Mexico in '74 on a pilgrimage, checking out my ancestral roots and all that. Just got fired up from Chicano studies. As I'm climbing the pyramid in Palenque, Mayan ruins, I asked myself, what am I? I'm not American in the WASP sense, and only connection to Mexico is ancestrally. Then I remembered a line from my Chicano studies class. is that Chicano is not an ethnic term. It was before the Chicano movement. You were born in the U.S., you're considered a Chicano. But during the movement, Chicano meant a Mexican-American activist. I thought that's what I'll be. I'll become a Chicano artist, creating works about the Chicano experience. I call myself a Chicano culture sculptor. This was the first piece of sculpture that I wrote when I got back to LA, 75. CS stands for Consafos. It's a street tag that you would put under your name, C/S. It's a protection. It means anything, if anybody puts anything against, writes anything against the wall, it goes back to them. Also means it's exempt from danger, the wall, your name. Also, so be it. And also, fuck you if you don't like it. CS. Oh, okay.
No, but don't. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Keep that note. Give me that tempo. All right. Wait. No, it's faster.
Dun, dun, ticka, ticka, dun, dun, ticka, ticka, dun, dun, ticka, ticka, dun. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
LA. We call it the City of Angels. Founded in 1781 by Felipe de Neve. Settled by Mexicans, mestizos, mulattoes, African Mexicans, and the local Gabrielino Tongva people. LA, originally called Llana, christened by the Spanish missionaries, El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora, la Reina de los Ángeles. LA, my city of the angels. We came to work your fields of plenty. We made you rich. You paid us pennies. We laid your railroad over trails that once were indigenous. Taught you how to mine your gold, rope your cattle, and irrigate your land. Wait a minute. Your land? Consafos. What's that strange right on the walls of LA? (1942). It was times for the Japanese Americans, you put them all in concentration camps. Well, who was left to scrape your goat? Well, the Mexicans, why not? We were your favorite joke. 3,000 years of civilization. Olmec, Maya, Toltec, Aztec, Mexica. 3,000 years of civilization to wind up in LA. People in damnation. Consafos. What's that strange right on the walls of LA? June 1943, a month of infamy. The LA Times had found a sacrificial lamb special of the day. Your headline screamed, Mexican zoot suiters planning to attack servicemen. Be downtown between 6 and 10. Night of June 7th, 1943, your zoot suit riots began in LA. A mob of sailors, soldiers and Marines marched to the middle of town to hunt those dirty Mexican zoot suiters down. Consafos. LAPD stood by and watched as boys from only 12 and 13 were kicked, beaten, and stripped to keep our city clean. con zafos. If you have any balls. Go ahead, white fence. Paint your epitaph. Go ahead, dreamer. Sign your name. Go ahead, Clover. Sign your treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. A treaty that was supposed to guarantee equality. Go ahead, Batos Locos, children of Aztlán, spreading metallic blood to all the walls. Come down. Con zafos. Look at me. Con zafos. I am somebody. I am somebody. Con zafos. Don't you listen to what the walls have to say, LA. All they're saying is, que viva Los Ángeles. Que viva Yana. Long live LA. I love you. Love you, LA. Good God, I love you. I love you, LA. 'Cause you're my home. My home, sweet home. Yes, you're my home. Home, sweet home. You know I love you. 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 ¡Que viva Los Ángeles! ¡Que viva Yana! Hey! 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 Long live LA! John Densmore! Harlan! Sedillo! Linda Ravenswood!
Funkahuatl! Thank you, everybody. Copies of Grito de los Dos de los in the bookstore. Feel free to have some chelas in the patio. And thank you all. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, brother.
You all. No. Oh, yes.
It's fine. No, it's good.
Let's get a photo with you all.
Her ex-husband, she's great photographer. Kind of a
My late husband.
your late husband. Sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
set.